Hi guys, Donald Trump's plan with tariffs wasn't just to punish friend or foe abroad, but was part of a bigger plan to destroy the US economy for the benefit of a few billionaires. One of the lines on the campaign trail that Trump and those close to him pushed was that they would onshore manufacturing, that they would bring jobs back, those that had been lost to other countries during the outsourcing boom. Now, part of what they've promised may come true. Some manufacturing will return to the US, but the jobs will not. And the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick admitted that when he was interviewed on Face the Nation, but then tried to distance himself from such an idea.
The factories being built in America are huge.
That takes years, and you've said that robots are going to fill those jobs. So those aren't union worker jobs.
It's automated factories, but the key is who's going to build the factories, who's going to operate the factories, who's going to make them work. Great American workers. We are going to replace
on other networks.
armies of millions of people. Well, remember, the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them. They're going to be mechanics. There's going to be HVAC specialists. There's going to be electricians. The trade craft of America are high school educated Americans. The core to our workforce is going to have the greatest resurgence of jobs in the history of America to work on these high-tech factories, which are all coming to America. That's what's going to build our next generation of America.
My goodness, this guy is insane. Or he's pretending to be, I don't know. So he's trying to sell this idea that, okay, what we're going to do with these tariffs is going to bring back all this manufacturing, and then, of course, it's going to bring back American jobs. But he's admitted here, and he's admitted in other interviews, that, well, they're going to be automated factories. They're going to be robots doing most of the work in these factories. So it will not be working class or middle class Americans doing these jobs. So then he's saying, well, don't worry, we won't have people working in the factories, but we need people to build the factories, which is correct. But this is a temporary thing. It's not a long-term job, building a factory, because once the factory's built, then you don't need the workers anymore. You need another factory. But this is not long-term employment. And this is limited. You're not going to hire hundreds of thousands or millions of workers to build factories. And then he says, well, you need workers, highly skilled workers in the factories to manage the work or to repair the robots, which is true, but that's a very small workforce. It's not the hundreds of thousands of workers that you used to have when it came to manufacturing cars. So more and more of this work is being automated, and Howard Lutnick even admitted that. He mentioned how, well, we used to have people screwing in screws in iPhones in China. Well, we're going to bring that all back and we're going to automate it. So then you don't need the workers. See, the problem is you're going to have a huge amount of unemployment. A lot of people who can't work in these factories when they're being constructed because there's a limited amount of work available. And then once these factories have been complete, you're going to need a very small workforce to maintain the operation. Now, these people will be highly skilled and they'll be highly paid, but that's not a job that everyone can do. So you're going to have a huge amount of unemployment. Now, these people are trying to sell the American public, don't worry, there'll be a job for you. Well, what jobs will be available for them? Once again, not everyone can be an electrician in the construction of a factory. That's assuming that a lot of these factories will return because it's expensive to build a factory, even an automated one, especially an automated one. And you have this problem with the tariffs. Is Donald Trump going to dump the tariffs or is he going to maintain them? We don't know because Donald Trump is extremely unreliable as a political leader. I've been talking about this on the channel for years. We need to have a new system, a new social safety net. We need to have a new way of dealing with the economy because we're going to see a lot of jobs being automated, a lot of jobs being outsourced to AI and robotics, and we need governments on the ball on this. Donald Trump is throwing hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of workers under a bus in order to maximize profit for a very small number of people, because the people who will own these factories, who will own the production, that number of people is getting smaller and smaller. We're not going to see a massive boom in the jobs market for ordinary people. We're going to see somewhat of a boom in very specialized positions, very specialized sectors. And that's it. So we need to have a true social safety net for everyone else. Donald Trump and people like him don't care about that.